Thank you. Mr. Herman, please do the roll call.
Ms. Zappa.
Here.
Here. Henry. Present. Hathaway. Here. Stanton.
Here. Here. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Courtesy of the floor. Please observe the rules of council when given privilege of the floor. A copy of council rules can be found on the council agenda on the website. Copies are also on the back desk along with the agenda. When anyone has privilege of the floor, I will not entertain personal insults, attacks, name calling, or other behaviors that is inconsistent with the purpose of conducting official business. If you would like to speak, we're asking that you fill out a card. They're on the back table, provided to the clerk before speaking. Include your name and address. Courtesy of the floor, you meant to provide public comment on items that are not on the agenda. Public comments for consideration or ordinance, resolutions and motion is limited by topic. Your comments must be relevant to the subject matter of the proposed legislation. Public comments are taken before council votes on items. You are giving privilege of the floor to provide public comments. It is not a question and answer session. If you're speaking on behalf of yourself, you have 3 minutes. And if you're speaking on behalf of a group that has several members present, you will be given 5 minutes. Please address the council president, not individual. Council person or city staff, refrain from insulting or defamating staff, officials, and the public. Refrain from using offensive language, cursing, and making noises while other people are speaking. Please be aware that comments or behaviors in violation of these rules will result in forfeiture of all remaining time, and you will be asked to return to your seat.
And then we'll furnish the floor.
Okay, Mr. Hammond, contract approval.
There's only one contract approval, it's resolution 44, and resolution 44 is an authorization for an increase to a contract previously bid with AB Doors and Windows in the amount of $20,000 to cover future risks.
And who would have to start here?
Yes, ABE Doors and Windows 8 is a previously awarded contract that expressly additional funds in the amount of $20,000 to cover future risk claims. Due to the cost of the change order being over 10% of the contract amount and being presented to care before council.
Any comments from the audience? Mr. Stukel.
Maybe, Mr. Risk Management, John, can you maybe, clarify why we need this $20,000? I mean, is the damage to doors or what's it going to increase?
I believe that the purpose of contract approval is to sort of view the procedure related to the contract. I'm happy to ask Mr. Ferry to answer your question, but I understood that the purpose of this portion of the agenda is to review procedures under which contract is done. I believe this revealed that.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, you are right, but thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Sorry. So yeah, the reason for the increase is, so this isn't just risk claim, this is also preventative maintenance. Any kind of maintenance is done on all the city garages, so that it's a little bit more expensive this year, so we had to ask for additional.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments from the audience? Any comments from the public? Mr. Hammond?
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Rolla.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Natalie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ms. Carter.
minutes of previous meeting.
The first set of minutes is getting rid of the first, Ms. Gerlach.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks? Yes. Mr. Natalie? Yes. Santos?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Yes.
Moda?
Yes.
And Ms. Sapper?
Yes.
Hayes. Second set. Mr. Hendricks? Yes. Mr. Natalie? Yes. Santos?
Yes.
Duval? Yes. Moda?
Yes.
Sapper?
Yes.
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 So he's in.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Communication. Executive. An executive session was held this evening at 5 p.m. to review potential litigation issues that relate to council investigation. Council office received a petition requesting an intermunicipal liquor license transfer for City Center Hospitality Tenant LLC located at 950 Hamilton Street. The public hearing on the transfer will take place on Wednesday, April 17, 2024 at 6:15 p.m. Chasers, if you park in the city lot next to City Hall, we see the city clerk for a voucher. Okay, all business. Okay. Reports. Budget and Finance, Chairperson, Mr. Napoli.
Thank you, President Logan. The committee met on March 27th at 6 p.m. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 10th at 5:30.
Thank you, Mr. Napoli. Community and Economic Development, Chairperson, Mr. Hendricks.
Thank you. The committee has not met since the last council meeting. The next meeting is scheduled for April 10th at 5:45.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Human Resources Administration and Appointment, Chairperson, Ms. Otto.
Committee is not next, last council meeting.
Thank you, Ms. Otto. Park and Recreation, Chairperson, Sampson.
Thank you. This committee met this evening and the next meeting has not yet been scheduled.
Thank you, Ms. Sampson. Public Safety, Chairperson, Mr. Shinko.
Committee met this evening, the next meeting is not yet scheduled, there's one item on the regular agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Shinko. Public Works, Ms. Earl.
Yes, this committee met this evening. There's one item on the agenda and the next meeting is not yet scheduled.
Thank you, Ms. Earl. Rules Chamber Intergovernmental Relation and Strategy, and I share that meeting. The committee met on March 27th at 5:30 p.m. The next meeting is not yet scheduled. Now, the great thing is, Mr. Controller, report.
Oh, Madam Chair, you've given me such a great build-up, and I'm going to disappoint you. I won't have a report this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor's report.
I wish I could top, Mr. Glazer, but I do want to report a couple of things. Thank you, Madam President. Since our last city council meeting, I want to report that we were thrilled to welcome the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra, to Allentown. He was here in part to celebrate the anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, which has dramatically changed the fortune of many Allentown Counties and has improved our economy. I wanted to thank Councilperson Mota for being able to join us for part of the visit where he held a roundtable at Sacred Heart Hospital. We look forward to future visits from administration officials, and in the future, we encourage those administration officials to bring checks with them. That's always appreciated. Earlier today, we held a press conference celebrating the improvement in Allentown's bond rating. Thank you, Council President former Council President Hendricks. I upgraded you to Congressman at the press conference.
They just demoted me on that one.
We have utmost respect for all current and former council presidents. Thank you, Council President Hendricks, for joining us at that press conference. We're absolutely thrilled to report to City Council that Moody's upgraded the City of Allentown's credit position in part because of their confidence in the city's leadership, particularly our financial leadership, driven by Ms. Patel. She and her team deserve a tremendous amount of credit for their capable and stable stewardship of our city's budget and finances. I also want to recognize the work that City Council has done to support our team in the development of that budget. The other major factor that contributes to the improvement in our credit rating is the strength of the local economy. The city economy is doing very well. Jobs are being added, wages are increasing. We're in good shape economically in Allentown and in the Lehigh Valley. We're continuing to work to make investments to get more Allentonians into the labor force and accessing good jobs across the Lehigh Valley. Incredibly hopeful for a recompete grant from the Economic Development Administration. But overall, incredibly good news. Imagine that your credit score is in the 800s. That's where we're headed in Allentown. And what the really great thing that you should understand as council people is that when we are faced with incurring debt to make improvements to our physical plant here, whether it's through the improvements to the public safety building to take care of our police officers or building a new central fire station, it will lower the cost of incurring debt, which will improve our ability to invest in the other things we do in the city. So incredibly good news. I finally say a couple of things looking forward. On Saturday, I was talking to Councilperson Santos. I know that her stepbrother is disappointed that he couldn't get all the candy he wanted at the Bucky Boyle Easter egg hunt. Good news, the mayor's office is collaborating with the Police Athletic League to host an Easter egg hunt on Saturday at Jordan Park at noon. So I encourage all, I don't think we have a city council division, but you're welcome to hunt for Easter eggs as well. And then finally, I want to encourage city council and all of my fellow Allentonians to take care in looking up at the sun and the solar eclipses on the way. I understand there'll be some celebrations across Allentown. Do take care of your eyesight. Make sure you're using improved glasses, whatever they look like, and let me know how it was. That concludes my report, Madam President. I'm able to take any questions that council may have.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance for final passage, Bill 13.
Bill 13 provides for the vacation of Titan Street, extend the line of South 8th Street to its west terminus.
Any comments from the title? Any comments from the public? Mr. Honey?
Just to, yeah, this was, forwarded unfavorably, not vacate.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that it's an appropriate amount of discussion or further at the committee meetings, but the administration would reiterate that we disagree with the finding of the planning commission in this case, and we recommend that the street be vacated.
Okay.
Okay, one, Bill 13, street vacation. Mr. Napoli.
Yeah.
Ms. Santos.
No.
Mr. Zuko.
No.
Ms. Moda.
No.
Ms. Zaffa.
No.
Mr. Rolla.
No.
Mr. Henry.
No.
Thank you, Mr. Honey. Bill 23.
Bill 23, amend section 521 contracts. Include read as follows. Selection process shall be based on the objective criteria contained in the RFP and shall be conducted by a selection committee composed of the director of finance, department head, bureau manager, and any other staff deemed appropriate. The new section would add, except in the case of investigation authorized by ordinance under section 201 of the Home Rule Charter, where the ordinance shall authorize the section selection.
Okay. This was, any comments from?
Yes, yes, I would like to, our solicitor to comment on this. This appears to be a two-part amendment. Am I correct on this?
I don't believe it's been amended.
Well, if it's an amendment, correct. I'm sorry, I misstated that.
But there was talk about perhaps someone would want to add an amendment about whether or not there should be a designee added last time. That has not occurred. So this was, the way I see this, what's in front of you right now is the addition of the language, except in the case of an investigation authorized by ordinance under section 201 of the Home Rule Charter, where the ordinance shall authorize the selection committee. That's what's in front of you.
The key is someone like you, the house cleaning amendment. If the registration, no impact. That would just be.
I'll make the amendments to add order designee into the notes.
Okay, this is a minor house committee amendment, therefore it's recommended at the Budget and Finance Committee. And all it simply adds is after the Director of Finance, it adds or designee. All right,
Does not have to be a second.
There does. There does, yeah. There is been no second.
no second.
Okay, if there's a second for this amendment,
I'll make it.
Okay, a second.
okay,
Just a reminder, recommended with this amendment, at the house committee. On that amendment, Ms. Santos,
yes.
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
Ms. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Mr. Gerlach.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Mr. Knapp.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're gonna read it all over again and then ask for public comment.
Now, the bill is in front of you with that minor change, with the change proposed by, I think, Mr. Zuko. Mr. Gerlach, Mr. Hendricks.
Okay, so public comment. Public comment. Public comment? No public comment. Okay,
Okay, the bill as amended. Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
Moda.
yes.
Zappa.
Yes.
Gerlach.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Yeah.
President Yeaman.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Bill 24.
Bill 24 amends the 2024 capital fund budget to provide for supplemental appropriation of $20,000 from the National Society for the Preservation of Covered Bridges. These funds will go towards the Rich Bridge.
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, this was in my committee and it was for the favors.
Okay. Any comments from you guys? Any comments from the public? Mr. Hammond?
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Gerlach.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Natalie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for the meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Bill 25.
Bill 25 amends the 2024 capital fund budget to provide for supplemental appropriation of $2,000 for the National Society for the, from the Theodore Burr Covered Bridge Society of Pennsylvania. And again, this is for Covered Bridge.
Okay. That was number. Any comments?
Just one. I know that we have, or got some grants prior to, for this, project. Has anything been started on it as far as we having it?
Maybe you can speak more to the actual work you're going to encourage you to take a walk at over the really cool plan that's posted on the inside of the bridge, which will be special work.
So some money has been spent on design, that's where it is right now, and we're the engineer getting permitting and hopes to put it out for bid for construction soon, for construction to start next year. So far the funds have been spent for most of the engineering.
Because we have no funds to complete the project.
So without it going out for bid for construction, we don't know for sure, we hope so, but because things are more expensive now, we don't know until we get those bids back about construction.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments from the guys? Any comments from the public? Mr. Hammond?
Mr. Zuko.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Gerlach.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. Natalie.
Yeah.
And Ms. Jones. 27, amends the 2024 fire department budget to provide for something, mental appropriation of $779,228 in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is for the purchase of a new fire truck.
Okay,
Yes, that's the part of this was in my committee and it was sent there for me to.
okay, thank you. Mr. Sokol, any comments from the audience? Any comments? What do you think?
My question is, who's the manufacturer of the?
Seagraves. So we've been purchasing Pierce vehicles until recently we switched over to Seagraves. There's appreciate council support and the Commonwealth support of investments in our fire apparatus. With this continues the supply chain delays associated with the delivery of fire apparatus is stunning. So the continued investment will keep us rolling, keep our residents safe, but Seagraves appears to be a more suitable choice at the moment for our ongoing investments. Really love to see a manufacturer of fire engines come to Pennsylvania and help address some of these supply chain issues, but I know that communities across the country are facing delays in delivery of new rolling stock.
Fully support it. That was the motion.
American with France still, building? Yeah, I'm not sure. Those are the old school. Yeah.
Everybody wants to go back to the business, but
Yeah, what is it so long? Because you mentioned it was the place to come. Wow,
it's
and COVID didn't really help.
COVID doesn't help, and the manufacturers across the country, whether they're manufacturing pharmaceuticals or they're manufacturing consumer goods or they're manufacturing fire trucks, are struggling to find people. And that has a significant impact on the delivery of these trucks.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Any comments from the public? Mr. Hammond?
Ms. Lorna,
Yes.
Ms. Zappa. Yes. Mr. Gerlach,
Yes.
Mr. Henry,
Yeah.
Natalie.
Yes.
Ms. Santos,
Yes.
and Mrs. Wood.
Yes.
And that's 78.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Bill 28.
Bill 28 amends various sections of city code by removing penalties provided for imprisonment and means of.
Okay. Who would like to enter for me, any comments? Okay.
I mean, I don't know, maybe it's right now, but I don't know anyone that's been in prison as a result of these,
I think that's the first thing you're allowed to ask that.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anyone over there that didn't cut their grass and that's why they're there. And I think it kind of goes back to similar to where the parking authority where, you know, it just don't make sense. That needs changes.
I'm just glad that it's happening.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah,
This
no
is
doubt
something
about that.
we brought up, I believe it was just over a year ago.
Yeah.
So Councilperson Gerlach, we were surprised to see the number of instances that the word resident is in our code. There's really no reason for city code to mention resident. Suggest the parking authority, on the side of one of the garages as a reference to going to jail, you know, clean up after your dog. Definitely with that one.
Mhm. Thank you.
And I mean, I guess I'll bounce off of that is I really just went through those 99, and just try to pick ones that just are clearly not criminal offenses. But I would encourage the administration and anyone else on council who maybe has a bit more of a conservative perspective to look at these and think, well, what else shouldn't we be incarcerating people for?
I agree. Thank you, Ms. Cobble.
I commend, Mr. Rock for bringing that up. And I know the administration brought it up as well.
Mhm.
At the parking authority, we took a look at all the ordinances regarding parking and we got rid of 13 that mentioned the word imprisonment. So, I think this is no brainer, but good job by all.
Mhm. Definitely. Any comments from the public? Okay, Mr. Hammond?
Ms. Zappa. Yes. Mr. Gerlach,
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Natalie.
Yeah.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Mr. Zuko. And Ms. Moda.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hammond. Consent agenda, R 45.
Okay, there are a number of items on the consent agenda. Is everybody okay with the items on the consent agenda? I just have one question. Do it as well.
Ms. Haley, Yvette Haley is the wife of Pastor Ben Haley, pastor at Union Baptist Church. She's currently an alternate on the civil service.
Okay, that is no issue. Okay, thank you. Any public comments? Okay, Mr. Hammond.
Okay, the consent agenda items are certificates of appropriateness for work in the historic districts at 112 North 11th, 1109 Turner Street, 1142 Emmett Street, 1515 Linden Street, 240 and a half Hall Street, 403 North 8th Street, and 1021 Linden Street. The appointment of Mr. Shabula to the Civil Service Board, term will expire 3/21/2028. The appointment of Mr. Felton to the Civil Service Board, 3/21/2028. And Howard to Haley to the Civil Service Board, 3/31/28. The appointment of Nancy Wilk to the Parks and Rec, that would extend to 2020-2026.
Just one point of clarification, this will is going to be completing the term of a current, recreation board that we're stepping down.
Ms. Gerlach.
Yes.
Mr. Hendricks.
Yeah.
Natalie.
Yeah.
Santos.
Yes.
Duco. Yes. Moda.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Hammond. Resolution for final passage. R 31.
R 31, council recommends ARPA funds not appropriated be directed toward offsetting any potential tax increase and used for political.
Okay, any comments? Go ahead, Ms. Freeman.
I'd like to make an amendment, to this, and I'll just read what's written, and I'll do something extra at the end. I would like to amend the resolution to take the 1.2 million from the community reinvestment and place it into the general fund as cost recovery to instead, to use the $1.2 million, to be used for recommendations to implement from the housing study and allocate that money into an account in the Community and Economic Development Department. And council will have a meeting of the full council in June to discuss this strategy, which will be inclusive of community serving organizations.
Okay, yes, we need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any comments from the side? Any comments from the public?
This would be on the amendment.
Okay.
They got comments for the. So the amendment is.
Yeah, so I can do it in real layman's terms and not do all that. So basically, what's on the books right now is to take the $1.2 million from the Community Reinvestment Fund, which was the money that was going to go to the nonprofits to do, different items. Instead of doing that, taking that 1.2 million, they wanted to take that $1.2 million and use that to offset a potential maybe tax increase in the future or address infrastructural needs. So they wanted to take that money, use it to offset a potential tax increase in infrastructural needs. I'm saying, let's not do that. Instead, let's take that 1.2 million and use it to actually implement the recommendations that this housing study we've got going on will make in the very near future. And I think it's important, housing, not just like developers who are building affordable housing. We're talking, any of the recommendations that could come from this study could be things that would touch into reentry, they could touch into mental health, they could touch a wide variety of services that nonprofits provide. If I hear you, I'd be worried, like, wait, hold up, we were promised money. I would venture to say the vast majority of organizations will be able to, work with the council and this administration, and be able to access that money, because it is, I mean, we can allocate the money, but we're not doing the actual work, nonprofits are doing that work, so. Either way.
When you say they, you're referring to the authors of the resolution. When you said they want to reapportion or reallocate the money.
They, I believe you're the authors, I don't know where you stand on this, I don't know, but the people on the resolution.
Yeah.
So I'm saying let's not do that, and let's give the money to the housing study. So that's the point.
Okay, so this is a mistake, that's taking 1.2 million, putting it into cost recovery fund. You're taking that fund account, putting it into the DCED account. And then in June, when all the dust settles, when we know the outcome of the housing strategy, the full council will meet and we know the outcome. And at that particular time, discuss particular allocation.
First, the out-of-order regulation, we cannot rule on the away from the outcome fund, or it is part of the outcome fund. And moving to the general fund, when we say that the department, that's money, the general fund, that's against the rules of
That's right.
outcome fund regulation. That's because the American Recovery Act does not allow.
So you can designate the funds getting to the fund. So you designate it for everybody.
These kids are, okay, one person at a time. Would you mind taking the microphone, please?
To comply, we would have to, and Ms. Patel, please correct me if I'm wrong, put this money into revenue replacement. Then designate general fund money to the DCED account, which would remove the ARPA deadlines, strings, and regulations. And then it would be able to be used to address the housing study. Now, if you simply move this from where it is into DCED, you will violate the ARPA regulations and we will lose the money.
I think her point was, that you go into replacement costs, what's the coverage, she's saying.
It said that she used the term that is gonna be going to the, Community and Economic Development Department. So that's where we should, yeah, instead of that, yeah.
And then general fund dollars go to DCED.
And it, so the,
Because we're saying the same thing.
correct, the revenue replacement, it's still, the will of council is that this be used, according to Mr. Locke's amendment, the will of council was again, according to the amendment, that the funds would be used for the findings of the housing study that we're performing. I think that's obviously something that this administration applies to.
I think that we should just delete the part that says Community and Economic Development Department.
Can we get a cleared up, language for this, because I want to make sure I'm still down to this.
We have our lawyer here.
Yeah.
So, I think Councilperson Sherlock intended was to use it for revenue replacement, but then she wanted that 1.1 million of that to go into account.
And
In her department, that was, I didn't either.
that is the end result, that Vicky Kistler's department has $1.2 million they can use to implement the study, the findings of the housing study, inclusive of community serving organizations. That is the final result.
Excuse me, do you guys mind sitting down? I promise you that you'll be the first one and Ms. Andrew will be the second to speak, okay? This may take quite some time.
Just for point though, is that if it goes into that it is designated as revenue replacement, that it needs to be placed into the general fund and not the DCD.
That's what she's saying.
Correct.
So that's the piece we want to get right. We don't want to run afoul of. Right.
Then the second step is to take money from the general fund and create the new account in the budget. And then, so the second step is most important, because what I'm afraid of, I'll be honest, I'm afraid that we will put the money in revenue replacement and then we won't do anything with the housing. Right? So if I want this motion, that will happen with the housing study.
You need to work the transfer, an ordinance to do the transfer.
So we need to do an ordinance to do a transfer from the general fund to the, after you approve it into the revenue replacement. Yeah. Okay, that's what you want to do. Okay, and so that would have to happen in a whole other separate meeting.
So, we do it all together as one package?
You need the 14 days.
So this is just a resolution, so that this press item will end, so I don't have to get it to the back.
So I guess, okay, 14 days from now, that's it.
It's some introduction, so you
Okay.
have to, you know, irrespective of the timing, but the administration is here before council before, that we're committed to following that guidance, right? Like we've communicated before that the ARPA funds that were given to the city of Allentown by the federal government were being used in collaboration, the administration gave some recommendations, the council has the finance board, we basically follow council's direction on this. So the council and body votes to go in this direction, that's the direction we're going.
Okay. Any other comments on this item?
Would I be able to make a motion to suspend the rules and introduce an ordinance tonight to transfer funds from the general fund into the CED account for this purposes of housing?
The chart question is,
I mean, I think that's pretty tricky to have to spend a lot of rules, state law, I'm sure.
That's not.
I'm ready to do the ordinance tonight, but I am anxious to get the resolution.
this girl, I got away with offer it, so we have yet to finish the housing study. So that has yet to be complete. I think that if we time this properly, we're looking at the housing study in mid-May, so that accurate? May or June. So if we time it right, we could issue the housing study, and then you could immediately create the ordinance and make the transfer to support funding for the housing study. Once you see what's in it.
You know, so again, I really am scared because I've seen this happen before where we say we're going to do something and y'all can look at me how you want to, but we say we're going to do something. And then when it comes time to do that thing, we don't do it because conversations get had in between now and then. One person, so that's really my hesitancy now that I see how this is structured. I mean, I will just say it then, that's gonna be on the rest of us. I will be introducing, an ordinance to transfer funds and how we vote. We're saying we're making a commitment, some of us, that we want the money to be, used to support the results of the housing study. And when that comes, I hope that we all stand by that. Those are what you vote yes.
Chuck, do you have,
Just say this, that the money's setting there, they can't do anything with it until an ordinance is introduced, so they can't spend it. So the incumbent upon the administration anyway, so that's not going anywhere.
Okay, then I'm okay with that change then.
okay, so any other comments from the audience?
Okay, big talking.
Yes, please, thank you.
Go ahead.
We don't need amendments though, or just want to make sure we don't have. Okay.
I still think we were clarifying the amendment. That it should be.
So, Mr. Shaw, can you clarify the amendment then?
Okay, I can give it a try, and I'm hopeful that I'm on. But that amendment move resolution to take 1.2 million from the community reinvestment and designated for revenue replacement and transfer to the general fund.
You guys, this year you got a house.
That's correct, that's correct.
So then you transfer it to the general fund. And designate that it shall be used for recommendations from the housing study and allocate, or, and the housing study period.
I'm okay with that.
So what I did is I designated it for revenue replacement, transferred it to the general fund, and said that it shall be used for, recommendations from the housing study.
Only.
That's the language that was in it, so I'm using it, so I'm trying to make it compliant with the order thing.
It's long as it's compliant, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Oh, the administration is okay with that language then? Okay, thank you. Mr. Hammond,
Public comment? Pretty much,
Mr. Palmer,
Patrick Norman, 617 Allen. Do we have a more concrete date than May or June of when the housing study is finished? Can we get that? Where, administration said May or June, but we know the covenant. Did we already have funds set aside for the housing study? No, so the housing study has already been, was planned and paid for. What we're talking about now, the Thurlock, and what I checked it was when that housing study is complete, instead of it going on the shelf like it does, we're gonna put $1.2 million behind the results of the recommendation. What we want to do with the results of it, put forward. Just, on the shelf, like you said, I think we're done now. My point is, we have an opportunity to actually put some funds behind it to get help booked out.
And I guess my question is, what was the purpose of the housing study? Like, what was the end result going to be if you didn't have this 1.2 million?
We're gonna obviously find ways to address the recommendations best we could. And we were waiting for the results. Until we have the results, we don't even know what the recommendations are. So once we get that, then we can actually have a bigger plan, but the plan also requires money. So our idea is to put 1.2 million behind it and having local nonprofits actually help with the plan.
But you had no money from it before, that's where I'm kind of, it sounds like there was no money to back this before with this 1.2 million, unless you can explain differently, Tony, or maybe I'm just confused.
listen, do you have any, does the administration have any comments?
Yeah,
No. Okay, so,
I'm just asking, like, I don't.
the follow my suggestion is, after the meeting, stay and we'll talk to you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think it's not just, for me, it's like I have no strong lead on, I'm just trying to figure out where it came from, where this is going.
Thank you. Ms.
Good evening, Andrew Noel, 1537 West Washington Street. Usually when you do a study, and if it's a comprehensive study, the findings that comes back from that is usually outside of the scope of what's been happening before. So that means when the study comes back, it's probably gonna have things on there that's recommended that you need funding for, and you also might need to tap into outside resources to get that. Does not necessarily mean that the organizations that are here will be able to provide those resources. But there are resources that are needed now to address the needs that are there right now. So like Mr. Palmer said, if you guys decided to do this plan, like at Allentown School District, when we're doing strategic planning and all of that stuff, we know that we have to plan and have the funding to implement whatever comes back from them. So to hear the expression of the fact that you guys don't really have any funding or have any plan for what's supposed to be there is alarming. But
We didn't say that, we did not say that, we did not say that.
it seemed like it was implied. So if it wasn't there, fine. So we're saying that there is support and funding there. What I'm saying is, it's all about trust. And week after week after week, as an organization, and plenty of organizations showed up and advocated for that $1.2 million for work that needs to be done right now. The reason why it's still there is because we were told that we had to wait until CDBG funding was allocated and then we will be told how to apply for that funding. So myself and all the other organizations that are here have been sitting, waiting to be able to apply for these funds. And now we're hearing that it was sitting there collecting dust, and now it's being reallocated, which isn't correct. And it causes us as a public to not trust you guys. And I would like that to change. That's something that I'm working on my side, across the street. I would like that to change here as well, that the word is the word.
Yeah.
And I understand in business, things change. I understand that you have to make different decisions. But when you're dealing with a public that is struggling to trust the science, you have to make decisions that work for the public and listen to the public. The public said it needed $1.2 million to put into the streets to support what's happening right now. Do right by the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. Next,
Okay, again, we will comments on the proposed amendment.
Hello, Ms. Phoebe Harris, Allentown, Pennsylvania, 1817 Street, Southwest. I'm trying to understand this. ARPA is the American Rescue Plan. That is federal money, correct? Okay, so how can you take federal money that is for one thing and then put it into the general fund? Because I know for myself, we cannot take, at school district, we cannot take federal money and put it into the general fund. We just can't do it. So I'm trying to figure out how you can possibly do that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when COVID hit, 2000, when it hit, there was organization and nonprofits that hit the street. We hit the street. I was part of it. I was a volunteer from 2019 to 2022 for the Ortiz Art Foundation. We were outside feeding our community. We were doing the things at Allentown School District. We had to keep our numbers up for lunch programs and breakfast programs. So we got on Friday, so we could get that extra money to keep the money coming in from the federal government for our lunches. And that also made sure that families, 6,000 families, 600 to 1,000 families were fed every Friday. These lunches were done, breakfast and lunch for the whole weekend. This money, we thought that $1.2 million was gonna come back to those nonprofits that were on the ground, not sitting, not closed, because some nonprofits were closed, not people sitting in their houses, but out there doing the job. We had nonprofits that were checking on children so that parents can go to work and knock on doors. We didn't go in, but we checked on those children to make sure they were safe, they had something to eat, and they were doing the work. Then we bought desks. We bought desks because kids did not have anywhere to do their homework. We bought desks. Then the community, I forget what it was, they started building desks for us, just for Allentown. Then with that, the Allentown School District gave out desks. This was boots on the ground. This was thinking outside the box. Why don't we take that $1.2 million and take it somewhere else? I understand the housing study, that's fine. However, those of us, those small nonprofits that were doing the work need to be reimbursed. They need to be reimbursed. I'm no longer with any nonprofit that were going Black Heritage Museum, and that's the type of town here. So I'm asking you, I'm begging y'all to please consider those nonprofits that really did the work, didn't only show up for unfortunately for news programs or for just to show up, but the ones who did the work behind the scenes. They made sure that our children and our parents, and even when they came to the rent, and they raised, and the rental assistance and the moratoriums for mortgage, they got those applications in with no money coming in. Thank you very much. Next.
Simpson, 215 North 9th Street. I try to avoid this council. I'm not gonna lie. I've been here probably once a year because it's just hard. it's harming to watch the bait switch. Like, there were people that came in here and fought for what we're about to take away from them.
Yep.
I mean, let's not even talk about the 5 years it took us to get here before COVID.
Well,
You know, I've always been boots to the ground. I'm always boots to the ground. And it's not about me though. It's about the people who are consistently showing up here. You know, I give them credit for still continuing to come. I don't believe that you guys are going to keep your word, so I stop. You know, I've seen things get passed, sat on, sit in committee, never hit the people, watch people die, never happened. We can't keep doing that to our people and think that you represent us. You represent a small portion of this community instead of the large portion that keeps coming to. The large portion that kept showing up. Like, there was some of us that showed up. I even brought youth here all summer. Like, we were here every 2 weeks begging for the same things. But my mom ain't raised a better. My mama raised to do it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I'm asking this council to do the same. So I stopped coming because I'm gonna bring my own money into the city. Watch me. You know, because what's the sense of fighting for something that you don't care about? But I'm asking you to care. I'm asking you to put that best foot forward because there are people every day that are starving. You know, during COVID, you know, me and my brother back there, we passed out over 250,000 diapers to families that needed it. We provided, Cynthia, you know, we provided food and food deserts for our elderly and for our children. Never asked for anything. We made ways out of nowhere. Some of the larger nonprofits that you talk about, they were scared to come out during COVID. They were scared. If you want to know the faces you saw most of the time, it looked like me. Right? And it looked like my brother back there because we were the ones outside. We were the ones that were leading when the fires went down and talking to the Red Cross and they didn't know what to do. We were the ones opening up our doors, you know, when nobody else was opening to make sure people were safe. I'm asking this committee to match our efforts. Stop, stop bait switching. Stop approving something over here and then moving it over there when we're not looking. Stop telling us you're gonna do something for us and never come through. If anywhere else, it would be not only disrespectful, it would be disheartening, and you wonder why some of us don't trust or don't show up. You have an opportunity to be different and do different.
Next.
Thank you.
My name is Cynthia Liz, I live at Global 540 Court. I've been doing nonprofit work for now a lot of years, but specifically with one company. I've been going out into the streets. I'd like to know who's holding these guns for the house. Is it someone living in a loft? Is it someone living on the streets? Who's holding these guns? I would hear anyone come out. Half of the nonprofits that are out in the streets, see them in their faces when they glow, when you give them that food, when you give them someplace to stay. They need that. Because if the right people aren't holding that study, I'm sorry, I don't believe in it. I work in the nonprofits that I've been working with, going under bridges and feeding the homeless, taking my own shoes off and giving it to the elderly, saving someone from sex trafficking. We are out in the streets. I would love you guys to come out in the streets with us, see what we're actually doing. Believe in it as much as I do, as much as all of them do. We open our doors, our hearts, and I cry. Because we can't save them all. But we're trying. Give it to the people that need it. The ones that are out there in the streets, they're showing their faces, that are doing the work. I'm out there with them. Okay, it's not easy. You wanna save everybody, you can't. And if you take that funding and put it someplace else, and it disappears, you guys, you gotta sleep with that, okay? I can't sleep at night knowing that one of my clients is having a crisis, if they're having no food, no way to feed their children. We don't got enough food. We take them sheets, pillows, pay for hotel, primary solutions. But if you take that, make sure that the right people are doing the study. Because if not, it's gonna disappear. And who's gonna live in it? The people that don't need it. We need it. They need it. Give it to the nonprofits, give it to the people. Thank you. Thank you. Next.
Good evening, just 14/5/23, so, behalf of your presentation. Excuse me, I came in, I had a little mess, but I undergo dialysis, and I had to skip it today to do it. And then that is real. Nonprofits are the catalyst of community development for individuals and families. I have been here, I think I'm going on 2 years on the same topic. When she just said she took off her shoes, she walked around barefoot for an entire day, that she gave her shoes to a young girl that was homeless, we had it. She took the sex trafficking girl into her house, because we didn't have any money left in any of our bank accounts to put them somewhere. My biggest question, and it's nothing against those that get money, but why are the smaller nonprofits always the one where you wanna make the tax, increase adjustments from, or $3 million were given out to the larger nonprofits? And I have nothing against any of them, and this is not about them. This is about us sharing a crumb and now fighting for the crumb when we've been fighting for the people. Could you imagine a day without nonprofits? You couldn't even live in this city. I saw we need new fire trucks. We love them because we're the ones at the fires. I saw two little girls jump out of a burning building because their brother threw them out of a window.
Yeah.
I'm not a firefighter. I've been at crime scenes where I have to hold somebody's blood wound until an ambulance, until the police get there. I'm not an EMT and I'm not a police officer. I'm none of the above. All of us, many of us with no money, had to go and get different credentials. We got certified nursing certificates. We had to go pay to be credible messengers. So that's what we were told by council. Only those who were certified would get these things. Only those who had credentials. I got my doctorate over the last 2 years so that I didn't have to keep hearing that there's other organizations whose executive directors have a doctorate and I didn't have one. While going through dialysis, while going through physical health committees, you know why? Because I live here and I love Allentown. I have to fight for people who's parking in booths and getting towed away. I have to go to 2, 3, 10 cities to take food and clothing from our home. We don't get any funding. We don't get $0 to do this. We come together because it does take a village. But why are we the ones continuing how, like Pat said, why do we have to beg? We are begging to keep our community safe. The importance of fire trucks, the importance of the police cars. Where's the importance in the people doing the work front line? You would never send soldiers into battle without the proper utensils and tools for the others to come in behind with the tanks. We need all the tanks and we need all, well, we are on the front line and we are getting exhausted. I have to have a new team every 3 months, not because they're not good people, because they burn out. Because they don't get paid, they can't get a stipend, they have to struggle to keep their families together. It's exhausting. It's really exhausting. Many of them are house are going under conditions. Throughout today's rain, giving out things. It's raining. I don't see many nonprofits on the executive level doing what we do. We cannot continue to be the afterthought of the city.
Amen.
We cannot be the one that we say, okay, we're gonna take a little bit of your money. That's like giving your kid the money under the pillow when they tooth fairy. Oh, but I need it back to pay the electric bill. How do you say that? How do you continue to do that? We're the people. I'm a realtor. I know how important housing studies are. But why is that our problem? PFHA, FHA, all these people have done studies. We got county has been published online. Why are we reinventing the wheel? We know the problem. Why are we included in these conversations? I was here 2 weeks ago to advocate for something else, and it looks to me there was a whole other
grant going out and only one organization's name was on there. Well, there's a lot. And a lot only the ones that are getting the money on the front line are the ones out there doing the work. Why do we have to keep saying this, you guys, over? You guys say, and I really have been trying to be respectful and work with everybody. You guys say we wanna hear what you guys to say, but you really don't. It's like when the kid is saying why he didn't do his homework. You're like, yeah, okay, I heard this before. Like, I know you guys have to feel like this, but we are getting the same answer. We got y'all. It was gonna have more time. Mayor, we're gonna go out and we're gonna get the money. That shit will get up. You gotta get certified. Critical message. You'll never get certified. The certified. We keep hearing different reasons. We went through hoops. We went through fire. We went through wind, stream source. We went through COVID. My office was open every Tuesday during COVID, filling out rental applications with not $1 compensation for the entire first year. We were forced to like computers do this and do that. We can't afford to continue to save the community on our own dime. It's not our responsibility. So it's great to have a fire truck there, but if the firemen don't speak English or Spanish or Syrian, guess what happens? They call us. What if we don't show up? Now we have people living on the streets because they didn't know to wait 2 hours, because that's how long it takes Red Cross to come. 2 hours for the Red Cross, because now they're gonna be homeless, because they didn't know what to do. And that's the reality. What should we do? Oh, we didn't know there was rental assistance open. These are the questions and the answers that we have because we are frontline. So you can't pay for the tank if you don't pay for the soldiers on the front line. Thank you, thank you. Next. Any other comments?
One lady come.
I have, block of Liberty Street. And I work in Allentown, and I'd like to share my concerns. Last year's budget process was brutal and divisive, and I don't remember. Our budget needs to invest in our entire community. Investment in our community, our public safety, prevents crime, and builds community rather than dividing. We, the city, need a fair, clear process for ARPA and all funding that supports true public safety and building the capacity of community organizations. Watching our community fight over crumbs is depressing. I support this amendment and any efforts to protect this ARPA money from reallocation away from community organizations. And I support increasing the support for our community organizations. Following are some good examples of ARPA funding being allocated currently in other communities across the country, in places where leadership is prioritizing investment in their communities. In Denton, Texas, they've committed $5.5 million toward housing assistance, building a shelter, and eviction prevention. Cleveland allocated $1.9 million in ARPA money for medical debt relief. Atlanta is giving $5 million to cure violence program. Houston committed $21 million to programs that provide support during mental health crisis calls. Los Angeles County is giving $18.5 million to support its alternative crisis response project. Boston will use $3 million for workforce development program for young adults and returning citizens. Louisville has committed $8.5 million to support young people who are struggling to find a job or re-enter school. Vermont Housing Improvement Program is providing $5 million in grants to property owners to repair properties that are vacant or threatening to become vacant. The city of Pittsburgh is $19.5 million to do lead service lines and support implementation of lead safety laws. North Carolina Division of Public Health is investing $150 million in testing water for lead and mitigating hazards in public schools and supporting inspections and abatement in schools and child care facilities. Vermont Healthy Homes is repairing water, wastewater systems and owner-occupied. I hope our city will make the
best decisions and truly supporting our community and make our community stronger. Please let's give our community leaders, and our community organizations the respect they deserve. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay,
Okay, so this is the one we have amended. Ms. Perla.
Yes.
Mr. Henry.
Yes.
Mr. Mathis.
Yeah.
Ms. Santos.
yes.
Ms. Zupa.
Yeah.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Ms. Acton.
Yes.
And for that 78, 78.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. R50,
So that, I get that. So we don't have-
actually. Okay, you got any, Mr. Henry?
Oh, I was saying that was just on the amendment, so you got to vote on the resolution as amended, and I have votes that wanted to, that already spoke, but that this one's.
Any comment, there's still a comment from the audience, any comment from the audience?
It's just a point of clarification. So for the ordinance that needs to be introduced that will, initiate the transfer of funds from the general fund to CED, I heard the administration say that that's something they support. Is that something that you all will introduce, or is that something that I need to bring forward?
We'll be writing that ordinance. To further though, the R31 was a resolution that was authored by Councilperson Hendricks, Councilwoman Appa, and Councilman Zukel. That was the original resolution was to transfer the $1.2 million to the general fund for road replacement. The amendment is now taking it to creating an environment which will write the ordinance that will make the general fund transfer into a new account where we'll use those funds to address consequences of the housing study. And a lot of what Ms. Thomas had mentioned, I think is probably eligible projects.
And you will do that at the April 17th meeting?
We can put together the ordinance for transfer by it to the April 17th meeting, that should be a problem. And then after the April 17th introduction, there would go a committee, and then we count on it being going on. I think May 1st is the first council meeting, but I think, so I think it would be reason, I think that attendees can reasonably anticipate that on May 1st, city council would be voting on that ordinance to make a transfer.
Any other comments? Any comments from the public? Yes.
Don Godshell, Executive Director of Community Action. I have to tell you, I felt like such a hypocrite sitting there and not getting up to say anything. At the meeting that Ripple and I came up, we talked in detail about what would be done with some of this ARPA money. We even came up together to offer to take less money. And then the community organizations that are absolutely boots on the ground. We're a large organization and we do a lot of wonderful things, but these other organizations do as well. And I feel so conflicted because we work very well with the city. We have a good relationship with the administration. We help in with the recompete process with many different projects. When we're asked to help, we do. But I can't sit around and quietly not say anything, that this promise was made, that this money would be made available to the nonprofits who are the boots on the ground, who do so much good work in this community, only to see it be shifted and moved and go away when when sometimes, they were promised a process would be put in place for them to be able to apply for this funding. And I don't know what the process was. That part I don't know because I didn't apply for any of this funding. But to shift the money to other areas when this was a promise that was made, that meeting was very long and it was on a weekend and there were a few of them. So it really, for me to sit and say nothing because I'm getting funding for part of what I came up here for, but to see them not be able to have that same, commitment that was made to them taken away, it just feels wrong to me. So I too, Ms. Ortiz said, I too see the importance of fire department and the police department. And I don't want them to go away. I do want them to get their needs met. I want housing to be met in the city. And I know we can't do everything, but there are really important things that are being done by some of these wonderful organizations that need the support of the city as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sherry Buckett-Ender. I'm the Executive Director of Resolve Community Inc. I live at 1553 West Street. Similarly to Ms. Hotel, I felt just compelled that Saturday meeting that we all remember so well. There were so many of our partners who showed up that day to support us and support the good work that we're doing. And I think it's important just to echo a word Ms. Noble used earlier, which is trust. We've been here, many of us have spent a lot of time in this room, and when a commitment is made by this body to the community, and then that commitment is changed, the trust is broken, trust is lost. And I don't think we can overemphasize the importance of trust. We all need each other, even when we're not getting along, or even when we're frustrated with each other or want things to be different. If we're going to move anything forward together in the city, we have to start with trust. And when a commitment is made and then a commitment is changed or a commitment is broken, that fragile trust is lost. So I would just ask that council consider that carefully now and going forward. It matters. Everything else builds from there.
Thank you.
Quickly, I'm hearing, I just want to make sure I'm hearing this properly. The 1.2 million is not black. That's, I've heard that a few times. The point of the amendment was to point the 1.2 million at housing and still have nonprofits deliver the services. So I just want to make sure we're crystal clear. The 1.2 million is still going to be with our nonprofits. But the thought process was that there are many, many housing challenges in our city, whether it's folk-based eviction, different situations. I don't get to this moment, but there's plenty to fill that 1.2 million. And that's where this is being pointed to. And we still need the nonprofits, which are boots on the ground, we all agree on, to deliver those services. But we want to make it more about the house. So I just want to make sure we're clear that it's not going away. It's just going to housing and then nonprofits. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out how you can take ARPA money, which is federal money that dedicated for COVID, and put it into a general fund. Can somebody please answer that question for me? Because I know with the school district, when we get federal money, it has to be allocated for each thing. We cannot put it in general fund. We can't put it in the capital fund, can't put it anywhere. We have to keep it with the federal fund, like our Title I, we can't put that money in a general fund. So please answer the question. I don't know if you're a lawyer, I don't know if you're a financial person. Please answer that question because I'm very confused.
I think you direct the question to me.
Yeah, okay, great.
Okay, so now is your opportunity to say what your position is.
Yeah, so,
Not to.
okay. No.
If you have thoughts, you're welcome to share.
So that is my thought. How can we take ARPA money, and put it in a general fund, which is not federal money, that's city money, that's collective taxes and everything else. But that's federal money that was geared towards COVID, because that was American Rescue Plan. But how can you legally do that?
What the designated for revenue replacement.
I
see my content. Put the general fund, this amendment passes, and it's going to be used for recommendations from the House.
So that it is in the federal grant.
Revenue replacement, which is a legitimate use for.
That's all. Yes, that's not.
Being designated as revenue replacement, placed in the general fund on the condition that it's used for recommendations, as a result of the House.
So thank you very much for that. From there, I'm gonna go back to this. We had that Saturday conversation. We were promised certain things and now, like Mr. Clinton said, it's a big split. We were promised this, we were all here, we had a long, we had that conversation. You're promising the city one thing and now you're doing another. Now you're saying it's gonna go towards housing, and you guys are gonna go towards, and I understand, for things, but our nonprofits put themselves on the front line, not just for housing, but for everything else. For everything else. And now we're gonna say, oh, no, it's going towards housing. That's not fair. And it just hurts my heart. I'm think they're crying. Because I saw the students, I saw the things. When they were doing, giving money for your electric bill. I got this week, a PPL and tell her how much this they grant, because I saw people crying once they got their electric bill paid. This is still a COVID. But these nonprofits who were doing that, they were doing it out of their heart and their own money. So I can't go along with that. But I understand, thank you for explaining to me, Mr. Smith, how it works, because I did not know that part, but I'm asking you all, just please see it as a movie. Thank you. Next.
Again, Pat Simpson, 215 North 9th Street. I unfortunately disagree with Councilman Councilman Pope. Once you move it from what we asked it for, it's not the nonprofits get what they asked for. I was part of that group that sat here on a Saturday, sat there with Sherry, with Dawn, and negotiated together. Like there was a group of us that said, we'll take less. We all came together. It was standing room only on Saturday, early morning on a Saturday, that all of these groups came together to fight for something. When you take it from and just put it to housing and then put the burden back on us to fulfill your plan, that doesn't help any of us. That's your plan. Housing is something that we know has to be done, right? There's a study that needs to be done. I think Ms. Ortiz gave you all of the different studies that were out there, but you can't keep taking from the people and acting like we're supposed to support you, acting like we're supposed to trust you, acting like you are a representative of us. You represent your own things because the city came together. We negotiated together. I watched Ms. Jerry. I watched Ms. Dawn sit there and say, I'll take less. I sat in a circle going, how do we do it? We all made it happen together. Only for y'all to say, it don't matter. We'll do what we want. Months later, just like the credible messenger money. Why don't you just take that and give it to the people? Give it to this, because you're never gonna give it to us. You've been sitting there for what, 3 years? Almost. It was probably the first thing you passed. That's never hit the people. You're never gonna give it to us. Because so many of us have gotten certified and done so much work. That money's never gonna come. As long as you take the money, you're never gonna give it to the people and actually give it to them. Yeah, because what happens right now, they put themselves about dignity.
Right.
Right, because we came here and we negotiated in good faith. we came together, you know, small nonprofits, large nonprofits came together for a common cause, a common good. And it didn't matter to you. Because even as we came up here and spoke from our heart, you still voted against the will of people. Like, all I'm asking for one time for this body, because some of you have been here 5 years, some of them are rather new, but you've all been here more than 2 years, so you've all seen my face. You've all heard my cries. Some of you hate me. And because it's not. I don't care, 'cause it's not about me. This is really about the people. That's why I came today, because after I said I wouldn't come back. Because I know that there's certain people that won't be able to articulate themselves as well as I do. That may not have the education that I have, but at the same time, I'm asking this body to have a heart, to really stand by what you say. Other than that, this is not a body of truth tellers. You are someone that fabricates the truth. And how do we trust people?
Okay, so, do you, we do. Go ahead.
Yes, first of all, I think this whole problem started because at budget time, it was made very clear that there would be a process established. Right, CEDC department. There's a different agreement with me. That never happened.
Well,
Right.
yeah.
I'm sorry, what? Go ahead. You did have a process? Okay, then, which, I don't want to put you.
One thing at a time.
Well, she responded out of order.
Thank you.
No, he's just commenting on something I said.
Well, we can't do it, so she can't do it.
Yeah, I think I'm not interrupting anybody back there. All due respect. And there never, okay, that I'm aware of. Okay, that at least on the website, was it on the website? Okay, not answering, okay, that's okay, you don't have to. And that's the issue. There never was a process for the nonprofits or anybody for that matter to apply for this. And I remember Ms. Murray even asking if it could be in Spanish at the time. And, it was agreed upon that that would happen. And apparently that didn't happen. So all that 1.2 million is still here. I don't think I'm supporting this because I believe that what this, Gerlach is trying to do here is to get this rolling. Okay? It's not, it's stale now. I can't, no, anybody can argue with me. It's still sitting there. That 1.2 million is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. And I believe what has to be put in the ordinance is that there is a process. And the process has to occur. Or else 3 months from now, budget time, we're gonna be back here going over 1.2 million again.
That's right.
And I do agree with Mr. Napoli to a point that we're not saying that the nonprofits are being excluded. They're going to get money, if they apply for it, obviously, get money to help people in 10 cities or people that are fire victims. But there has to be a process. And it was alleged to me anyway that it was council's issue that there never was a process. Council never has, never will arrange for any type of process where grant money is given. So that's not fair to council. But I believe that the heart of Mr. Gerlach here is to get this money to the people, but there has to be a process in place and it has to be abided by. Thank you.
Thank you. The late,
Go ahead.
So going back to January, February 2022, the administration developed a process that was very similar to the CDBG process for disposal of the ARPA funds. And that nothing's changed with that process. It exists. Where we stand now and what Ms. Kistler communicated to council recently was that the distribution of the $1.2 million that were allocated to community funds would begin after the completion of the CDBG award process, which just recently completed. Okay. So we stood ready, we communicated to council, and we stood ready to begin the work to allocate the $1.2 million. We were surprised to learn that you, Councilman Zuko, and Councilwoman Appa and Council Haggis put together this resolution that said, hey, take the $1.2 million and put it back into, I think, Frog would refer to as infrastructure to avoid the possibility of a future tax increase. stand ready, and we stood ready to distribute these funds.
Okay.
According to the process that was articulated in the past, because I know Ms. Gerlach offered some feedback on that process 2 years ago. It largely stands and it largely reflects the CDBG process, in which council is invited to participate as scorers for applications, but we just ended a quick update on CDBG, because I know we have some CDBG applicants here, and council may be curious as well. We're awaiting the award letter. So this is that big much CDBG money we will have to distribute before we bring that to council. So you expect each year around April or May that we bring a list of potential CDBG awards to council for approval, and that's upcoming. We're ready to go with the distribution of the $1.2 million, but if council is going to act on this resolution and shift it over, then we're also ready to prepare an ordinance that would transfer it to out of the general fund with the general fund transfer to CED to ensure that whatever comes out of the housing study can be acted upon. And as I mentioned, I'd add, council has made it pretty clear that you control the distribution of the ARPA funds. We're here to follow your lead on that. So if council determines that the ARPA funds should be used for infrastructure investments, so be it. We'll do infrastructure investments. If council apparently appeared to in December say that money should go to support the nonprofit community in the city of Allentown, great. We're ready to go with that process. We have to get through CDBG. But if it is now council's wish that the ARPA funds be used to execute on the findings of a housing study, great, we're gonna do that too.
Okay, but then there is a process that, is it on the website? That's what I'm asking. Okay, so why is it on the, how would someone know about the process?
I have received for members of council, and I have asked for this money to move to revenue replacement, to remove the ARPA restrictions, so that eligible agencies could apply with a simpler process and not be held to the deadlines of ARPA. But I have gotten delayed or indecision as to whether or not council wants to do that, or what they want to do with the money. We stand ready to do whatever you want. But that you remove it from the ARPA process, so that agencies who don't qualify under ARPA to connect this to COVID, and agencies that may not be 501c3 certified to the extent that ARPA is asking for, or that the time frame which puts constraints on these agencies be removed. And if council will do that, we will give away this ARPA money as you tell us to, with an easier process that they can use.
I appreciate that. Can we make that part of the ordinance?
Let me start short.
Okay. So it seems to me that, what Ms. Kisler is recommending that the ARPA fund be designated for revenue replacement, and that would lift some of those ARPA application restrictions and would open it up, and that then the city could award it to people who apply through a more locally controlled application process. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing. All right.
Has been saying that for quite some time.
Okay. One of the things I want to mention.
He has.
is that she's been in front of us many times, and she's been advocating for different solutions. And honestly, we didn't have time. And that's, we have to, follow her guidance, move this, we move it to revenue replacement. That takes away the restrictions, because currently we would not be able to give $1 away unless it was connected to COVID, which is very difficult to do. So Ms. Kistler's suggestion, recommendation was the right move. We've seen it happen.
Okay, but let me just point out one thing though, that you're putting a condition on it. She's asking, the council is the one putting the condition on it, that is to be used for recommendation from the housing. Perhaps you don't need to include that.
So let's not include it.
Yeah, so if you, and again. Be designated for revenue replacement and authorized to transfer to the general fund, to be distributed in compliance with the broader application process. Okay, that would not limit you to this issue that's in front of you right now, which is to be used for recommendation from the housing study. It seems that people don't like that you're limiting it to that, okay? So that's just, an observation.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Mustafa, you have.
Yes, I remember that Saturday. We're here. Allocated money, made decisions. Everybody seemed to be happy. In fact, when most of the council left that day, we were like, oh, I don't need that for him. We threw the ball to the Sixers department. Can't answer your question. I don't know. Why? Everything that she had said and everything she came to us with. I don't have an answer for you, and I apologize. Because obviously, we dropped the ball someplace. I can't even tell you where. Right now, I'm as confused as everyone else. That's all I have to say. I remember that Saturday. I thought we were very happy about everything. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm really getting a little frustrated with this whole thing. And so is, the administration. And to tell you the truth, I thought everything was done on that Saturday. I really did. And so yeah, for that.
Oh, you were about to.
I mean, if you want to make a motion, back, I'll sit back down.
I was just going to say that when I was at the budget, I'm on budget and finance, right? And I saw this and I participated virtually through the phone and I asked our finance director to confirm that this money was going to come from the community reinvestment fund from ARPA. It was forwarded favorably to one. I voted no, and the other 2 members of the committee voted yes. So my mindset was, cool. Well, I don't want that 1.2 million to be stripped from the community and then just be put into the fund to offset some potential tax increase and some unforeseen, we don't know what infrastructural projects. So if rather than have that happen, at least maybe we can get some money for housing. So my motion was more so as a plan B, like we didn't get what we want because for some reason there's members that wanted to take the money from the community reinvestment. And I didn't want that to happen. So I thought, well, maybe we could at least get money for housing. Some of you on council have called up and had said, hey, yeah, I would support that. And so I was counting votes. I didn't know if the votes would be there to say, hey, hands off, don't touch the money, because there seemed to be the will of the Budget and Finance Committee to touch the money, to take it. But there was the will to have the money go for housing. So I was counting my votes. But if it is the will of this council to have the money go towards nonprofits at large, then, I mean, I would not be against that. I just didn't, based on the recommendation from Budget and Finance, I was also informed that it wasn't the will of CED to do that. I was informed that members of I'm not on CED, I think that's Mr. Hendricks, Dr. Mota, and Mr. Santo, who are on CED, that it was the will of CED to not do what Ms. Kistler wanted to do. And yeah, so I was confused as to why this was even on the Budget and Finance. I thought, yeah, I know Mr. Jukel was confused as well. Where the heck did this come from? Why is this even coming up? So I was trying to make the best of a horrible option, of a horrible situation. But again, if someone on council wants to, in whatever legal capacity we will need to, in terms of terminology, make an amendment that would make this a broader reach, feel free to, and I will support that.
Can you repeat what you said?
Listen, Mr. Bowler, do you have a, you said you have a. You know what, let's give me a moment. I would like to hear from our lawyer.
Can I make the comment?
Let me hear from Chuck, please.
Sorry.
It just seems that what's in front of you right now is an amendment, that really had three parts, and that you all seem to be, agreeing that to the first two, that designating it for revenue replacement, putting it in the general fund. I think the issue is that, Councilperson Gerlach just pointed out that she put that limitation on there. She thought it was called, now so it's being viewed as a limitation, and perhaps you want.
Yes, I'm more than willing to lift that if there is a replacement language that says that, that there would be, I guess, an ordinance to transfer money from the general fund into a community reinvestment fund that would provide, funds through a well-vetted process to, local nonprofits.
Right, or, and let me think out loud here, for distribution to applicants who have applied through, successful applicants who have applied through the process established by the DCED. Does that do it? Because it sounds to me like there's a process that's in place, and you, why not just avail yourself?
Yeah.
Back to where we started.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to December.
Exactly, right? And the way it was set up was that department would then vet everybody and apply and so on and so forth, right? Exactly, that what we were only to do that. How much is the money there? It would be a process that was legal and that. So let's go back to what we originally did. It seemed to.
Yeah, but I think, I still think the two pieces of designating it for revenue replacement is important. So I would ask you to do that because that's a qualified purpose for ARPA funds, and then that means the people, the good people who are working for the city, the authority to distribute.
Okay, so let's change the wording then.
Well, let's go back, hold on one second. Mrs. Gerlach has to.
Yeah, I will withdraw my amendment.
Okay, then I will make an amendment that money be transferred into a revenue.
That's the situation, right? Designated for revenue replacement.
Correct. And that everything else remains the same. And that, somehow communication exists between CEDC and the nonprofits of the process to obtain those funds.
I would say designated for revenue replacement and transfer to the general fund. That's the two pieces that I'm.
No, I think that's because in the general fund, and it can just be openly used.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
Oh,
Guys, you see, this is one at a time. One at a time, please.
My understanding from what I was hearing is that the two pieces that have to happen are that it has to be designated for revenue placement and transferred to the general fund. That's what I was hearing.
Yes, otherwise it violates the ARPA.
Transfer.
CEDC.
We need a two step.
Yes.
The first step, we put it in the general fund as revenue replacement.
Yes.
Then we need to transfer, and we'll provide that soon,
Okay.
to transfer out of the general fund into whatever you want to name it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Then it's positioned, has no ARPA requirement or ARPA deadline. And then you can create the process, if you have the shuttle, to not have to argue with.
Right.
ARPA.
Okay.
But council needs, if needed, this is your money, needs to determine at some point what you're funding, what you're giving up for launch.
think we can cross that bridge when we get to that.
Yeah.
No?
No, we tend to not ever cross the bridge.
It's a two-step process. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
We first have to move the funding into the general fund.
And then figure it out.
Pretty much. Yes, it's a two process.
Mr. Dugal, would you be willing to include within your motion the language that would, point to the fact that, like, some type of timing language so that, because you know as well as I do, these things, look at us now, these things kind of get dragged out. So if you'd be willing to add some timing language,
So we would do the transfer or the motion to do the transfer tonight. Okay,
Transit.
the ordinance, correct? And then 14 days, correct?
That's what we said. It takes 14 days.
Right.
So this is a two part. Yeah, so again, can we do this all over again? Can you please
Well,
explain?
I still need some clarity on whether, are you looking to put an ordinance on your agenda this evening?
No.
Okay.
No, but it takes 14 days.
Okay.
Tonight's only the
So
motion.
I think that Mr. Clerk, if you can just refresh my recollection, did the amendment pass?
So the amendment passed.
And I
I
would do it.
believe what Mr. Dugal was asking for the amendment to
To
be
be.
on that. Just to ask for,
He's asking for further amendment.
yes, let revenue replacement be transferred as the general fund. And transfer. We wanted a time frame for that process. We discussed saying.
Which is already completed. So the work is gonna begin, but as far as the distribution, the actual movement, that's subject to the 14 days.
Is it, would it be fair to say a month? Is that unreasonable, or is there some other obstacle that you're not aware of that might come up? Okay.
I would offer, and Vicky told me that the meeting process, we typically send out the notification in October for the CDBG.
Yeah.
And then we give our nonprofit communities some time to prepare their applications, and we make those, or we have a committee review over the course of December and January. So it's, the process may begin within the next month, but money will go out, so.
Next
we're
year.
moving away.
Well, and money will go out. Continually, and
Sure.
there will be a reimbursement for the options provided. Because money, in my mind, is going to be for work on forward. As we work, it's very important.
If I may, I think because this is a resolution and you're basically memorializing the will account that you could put on there to be like.
Yes, I'm open to that. And a resolution is just that. It's based on the plan.
So we have to amend the amendment. So, Mr. Dugal, you're amending it to take out the provision that is to be used for recommendations from the housing study and saying that it shall be transferred from the general fund to DCCD by ordinance within 30 days.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, so it'd be down there for being resolved. by-
yeah,
Okay, so the way I'm reading this is, it would read at the very bottom now therefore be resolved by the city council of Allentown, that, and the amendment would be that you take 1.2 million of ARPA funds, place it into, use it as revenue replacement in the general fund, transfer that money into an account in the CD department and within 1 month development application process.
That's it, yes, that's it.
I know we have to authorize the transfer by ordinance, that's what I thought I was hearing.
That's happening April 17th, the mayor stated.
Yeah, I want that somewhere, yeah.
So do we vote on this now?
Okay, on that,
Okay, so,
Okay.
okay,
Mr. Goodall.
okay, one day that would be the end of the now therefore be at the, Mr. Allen.
do we have to take off comment?
All right, I just want to get clarification. So if we do what Ms. Kissler said, it's moved to the general fund and then to another account. So then, does that mean that once the restrictions from ARPA are taken off, then does that mean that those funds are fair game for anybody to do anything with? Or will it say that they have to use that $1.2 million for the things that are stated under ARPA?
No. It's not gonna be, it's not gonna be restricted. Yeah.
So that's my concern, the restrictions, because like things get extended, things like situations happen and then, oh, we need that $1.2 million. I just wanna get clarifications to just make sure that we are, like, that $1.2 million is not gonna go anywhere and then all of a sudden.
No, no, it's not.
Okay. Okay, yeah, and as transfer, but it's for that, okay, I just wanted to make sure that it was like locked in and then all of a sudden, well, we don't have the ARPA funds. So I just wanted to make sure that that was the case. Also, I think the mayor said that the application doesn't open until October.
That was
No.
Oh, okay, so that doesn't pertain to this.
No.
Okay, all right, that's all I needed, thank you.
Thank you. Next. Okay.
Okay, on the amendment, Mr. Allen.
Yes.
And Travis.
Yes.
Mr. Napoli. Yeah. Santos.
Yes.
Zuko.
Yes.
Mona.
Yes.
And Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
Yes. Madam President, I have said he is on.
Thank you, Mr. Hannan. R50,
So assuming that we're-
You know, you'll go down the resolution.
now we have to vote on, okay. All right, go ahead.
from-
Any comments from Dias? Any comments from the public? Okay, let's do this.
Mr. Allen.
Yeah.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. Napoli.
Yeah.
Santos.
Yes.
Zuko.
Yes.
Mona.
Yes,
And Ms. Zappa.
Yes.
thank you, Mr. Hannan. R51. R50,
R50 appoints 3 police officers as patrolmen in the Department of Police at a salary of $68,439 per annum. All appointments are contingent upon the candidate passing physical and psychological examinations as stipulated in the police civil service rules and regulations, and obtaining and maintaining a valid state certification from the Pennsylvania Municipal Police Officers Education and Training Commission. Beyond sponsor, Spinoza, John Weaver, and Michael Treadway.
hi.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be very brief and the first candidate we'll bring you tonight is Vegas Spinoza. He's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. From our civil service list, he's 41 years old, a graduate of Monroe College and Harry S. Truman High School. He's a graduate of our academy a few years ago. And he currently works for the City of New York Police Department, but he's born and raised in Allentown. The second one is Mr. John Weaver from Northampton, PA, who's 25 years old.
Before talking in the back, please.
He's a graduate of Northampton area high school, and he's not Act 120 certified. He'll begin the academy in June. He is currently with the U.S. Navy. The third one is Mr. Michael Treadway from Punji. He's 31 years old. He's a graduate of Bucks County Community College and Penridge High School. He also will need to attend the police academy starting in mid-June. He comes to us from the Department of Homeland Security.
Any comments from the Dias? Any comments from the public? No comments from the public?
Just real quickly, I know everybody pays close attention to the number of sworn officers. This brings us to 216 sworn officers, which is, again, where we seem to hover around. Hopeful, and I've met all these candidates, and they're exceptional candidates.
I'm sorry, Mary, you didn't understand. We have, right now, we have,
This will bring us to 216 sworn officers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Hand.
Okay, on R 50, Mr. Hendricks.
Yes.
Mr. Napoli. Yes. Ms. Santos. Ms. Zuko.
Yes.
Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa. Yes. And Ms. Gerlach.
No.
That's the case, and one thing.
Thank you. Order 51.
R 51 authorizes submission of the city application for the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency 2024 Justice Assistant Grant, the amount of $250,000, and this would be for funding for a co-responder mental health unit.
Okay, any comments from the value? Go ahead, Ms.
yes, let me just check my mind real quick. Yes, so my question is, with this grant, I know some grants will cover the planning, portion and implementation and possibly evaluation and data collection. Do we know if this grant will?
This is a JAG grant from the Department of Justice, and a portion of it will be used for planning by us. This is the chief for us to go into greater detail.
Okay,
The grant has to, with PCCD grants, they have to align with the PCCD strategic framework, and this one does. The goal of this is to enhance our CIS program that we currently have. So it pays for an additional CIS worker in full. This is a co-responder model. The proposal is for police and the CIS workers to work together and respond to calls together. There is a study included with it from Pinebrook that they will be studying the program from Cedar Crest College, the police innovation and communication analysis. They'll pay for the overtime for officers as well, like on the backside, if officers are assigned to this unit responding and there's a need to backfill the positions, they'll pay for that overtime as well. They'll pay for apparel, they'll pay for any other additional equipment like software or iPads that are needed for evaluation. And the whole program is meant to just connect the dots for the resources that some of the crises, people experiencing mental health crisis need. And this is exactly one of the objectives that PCC is authorizing, and there's no match to it, no cost.
I this is one of the PCPD is a company of other federal money that we continue to pursue for the development of alternative swamp models that you had discussed at like the team.
okay, yeah, I just wanted to confirm, hopefully we can later explore maybe, having other organizations, in addition to Cedar Crest, do some of the data collection, okay, and then, I mean, I know I communicated with Chief Roca about other funding opportunities, so I hope that even more continue to.
Yes, we're having some federal announcements lately for their similar projects. Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Any other comments from the value? Is there any comments from the public? No comments from the public. Mr. Hand.
Mr. Napoli.
Yes.
Ms. Santos.
Yes.
Ms. Zuko. Yes. Ms. Moda.
Yes.
Ms. Zappa. Ms. Gerlach.
Yes,
Yes.
And everybody gets it.
Thank you, Mr. Hand. R 52.
R 52 authorizes the participation of senior planner in the Pennsylvania Group Rent Communities Program.
Okay.
We were incredibly happy to be considered with alongside the Allentown Housing Authority, the lead applicant for this blueprint communities grant. Their requirement is that council pass a resolution that appoints one of our team to the planning team for the blueprint communities. So that's all this is. Trevor Torman is one of their senior planner, exceptional individual, and he'll be participating with Allentown blueprint community project.
Thank you. Any comments from the value? Any comments from the public?
This.
Yes.
One.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Herman. R 53.
It transfers between company or money. And Jake. Field support. 13,000 in all this. Right.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Herman. Any comments from the side? Any comments from the public? Mr. Herman?
So Mr. Zoko.
Yes.
Staff.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Herman. R 54.
Or authorizes the administration to sell studio real property at 201 to 1007 West Half Street.
Okay. Have any comments from the guys? Just real quickly, I'll be voting against this because, so it's what would be a traditional, more of a public process, won't exist necessarily, so, I also don't want to, but to be honest, what I foresee happening is some more luxury housing being put up, with, restaurant, underneath, some type of retail, underneath, some park. And I said if I got any council, I would produce the gentrification of my neighborhood and actively. Thank you. Ms. Gerlach, any other comments from the dais? Okay, any comments from the public?
I don't want to argue about this selling police station. When we don't have anything in place, and I spoke with you, about having a proper transition for the new station that you guys are proposing. And you guys have assured me several times that we have X, Y, and Z lined up. So, who's telling us or proposing it before we have anything in place is not what I'm doing. I have the minimum that I represent, I'm very concerned about this because they use those, kind of entities that are in our CBA, and I don't think they're going to be followed. And if you allow the sell of this without things in place, we're going to just go back. Why would we sell the police station without there's another one in place? Where are you going to put it? Now, in my power, I tell you that if we move forward with this, I'll have to file an emergency injunction to all chiefs trying to stop this because every almost rounds. And I don't understand why we would be looking to do this. We can talk more about this, but so much is in line with myself, members that our chief rep, our as well, and that rumor was moved all back down in the question. It's not saying the parking, there's no parking, there's no block rooms, there's no not. And I asked you guys, I'm not trying to stop the progress or a new station or anything, I'm all for it, but there must be a if you vote to sell right away, the mere fact this is brought up all of a sudden revenue, revenue, planning report, or plan. So you want to get this out here. I don't speculate, saying this respectfully, there's some type of backdoor deal.
Yeah.
Going on with the property. And last time someone did that. They did it federal. Where? Thank you, I'm just stating that. We talked about this, and we said we would do this the proper way. And all of a sudden, your soul is not the proper way. It's gonna create more problems with your money, you just got it. Like I said, right, you guys could think about what I'm saying, what men and women that I represent are concerned with. If, the mayor had come up here and said, we have X, Y, and Z, this spot, fits our criteria, we should, but we don't have, I know we're not. And we spoke about it. Okay?
And it's going to be permitted.
Yes, go ahead.
Think that the rest of the years we have in the process. It's sort of it's very good. We leave some of our most critically needed employees. being So it's totally ridiculous. It's insulting, frankly, to suggest that what we're asking them to do with this resolution. Only with the sale. Needs of their part. It's somewhere with selling a building other place. If really, otherwise, they'll stay. For something that. No, so we're trying to. The city.
So, and you understood that. So, what? Pass it right now. Keep people there. Let's do. Still, there's the plan to move or plan to move that. This is
allow police officers to stay still. If we pass this, someone
Not in the expected process, I'm not going to enter it. That's it.
don't bring up, hate.
It's not going to it's a
Is the weather so, it's like, yeah, no, it's not snow, but that's. So this is what, Rebel's hearing, so. Are the police officers know of it? That's why for police until it gets, sold.
cheaper. Search for its conversion.
Okay.
Sounds like